All right, so Guru Keith is with me today, my partner in crime at the gym here. He and I have been training together for an awful long time, 15 years now?
A little over, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things we share is our love of weapons and weapons-based techniques, and I've become, in the last couple of years, quite a collector of walking sticks, and Keith has some walking sticks, and I've really come to believe the walking stick is a viable self-defense option, especially for people with a little bit of gray in their beard. I have two of Jeremy Duncan's walking sticks. I have one of the Black Swift Ravens. I have this amazing stick from Master Ziggy of Cane Fighters International, the El Diablo. This thing is just a heavy, hardcore piece of equipment, and it's beautiful. And my latest acquisition is from Old School Shillelaghs, out of Shillelagh, Ireland, this traditional Irish shillelagh, which is absolutely a gorgeous stick, nice and light, very responsive. And you have your Jeremy Duncan walking stick there too. These ones with the heavy ball end are my favorite. Master Ziggy is partial to the crook top cane, and he has some really good techniques with that crook top. But the walking stick comes under a little bit of criticism as being somewhat unrealistic. For me, I think there's several things that make it a good self-defense option. But I'd like to hear what you think, Keith, as well, because this is something that I've been thinking about quite a while. Do you think something like this would be something that you could carry with you and
virtually anywhere? It is it's a mobility assist aid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is if it's effectively, it could have two primary purposes. One is to medically assist mobility.
Yeah.
Which is, let's be honest, a pretty common thing with high impact martial artists in whatever style.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, knees go, back goes.
Yeah.
We're not getting it, especially if you've been taking lots of throws. I actually, when I'm carrying mine, when my sciatica is acting up, I use it to help me crouch down and get some relief for a little bit. And in our area, it's also wildlife you have to concern yourself with.
Yeah.
So a walking stick. My dogs, as you know, have been stomped by in-town deer, and I didn't have a walking stick with me that time. It would have been handy to have, but I have scared them. I've never had to hit one yet, but I have swung at them a few times when they've come too close. I've chased them off my dog when they've been in the yard and the deer have been aggressive. It's usually around when they're fawning season that they're the worst, right? One of the things I believe, though, is that a walking stick or a blunt impact weapon is something that I would use quicker than an edged weapon, because an edged weapon, I know what it's going to do. I know how serious it's going to be. I think I can scale my use of force with something like this a lot easier than I can with a knife. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And a second part to that is just by walking around, that is deployed. You don't have to worry about draws. You don't have to worry about counters.
It's in your hand.
Yeah.
It's in hand. So that is one of the huge benefits of a walking stick, even opposed to a collapsible baton, say.
Yes.
And a collapsible baton, in Canada, you'd have a hard time arguing a case for carrying one because we're really not supposed to carry things for the purpose of self-defense, right?
Exactly.
So I mean, like I said, this walking stick helps me when I need to crouch and stretch my back out for my sciatica. So I can argue that it is a ambulatory, and I would not be lying if I was arguing about it being an ambulatory aid. So yeah, that's one thing for walking sticks. I mean, knives as well, right? They are cutting tools first and foremost, and improvised weapons if you need it. So I don't carry a knife for self-defense, but I carry a knife. But I would rather use this. And the range is also important, right? Like if I can, if somebody does have something small in their hand, this gives me a lot more range than say the most common criminal weapon in Canada, which would be a knife.
Yeah. There's also a deterrent factor there because it's visible.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you walk with some confidence, and again, if you're by necessity hunched over and it's the only thing keeping you stabilized, that's one thing.
Then you might need to carry two walking sticks. Right?
Yeah.
One to assist you in balance, the other one to fight with. And I say that tongue-in-cheek, but it's not actually just tongue-in-cheek because that's a potential situation for some people, right?
Yeah. The predator mindset is going to see that, and that's going to fall into the cons for attacking this person.
Yeah, that's true. And I think when you do walk with purpose with it in your hand, people who are, looking for an easy victim will see someone who's not using it as an ambulatory aid.
Yes.
Fortunately for me, it's only used once in a while when I'm walking. I don't often need it. But 3/4 of the way through my walk, I may have to get in that crouch, and it's nice to have to pull myself back up, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is I with a knife or something like that, doing structural damage to get rid of the limb is one thing, but to stop somebody is really hard, right? Like you might kill somebody and they're still fighting for 20 or 30 seconds as they bleed out, and a good hard hit to the head, which might kill somebody, but also has a better chance of stopping them quicker, right? Like Terry Trahan is fond of saying, why bleed somebody out when you can switch off the computer when he's talking about SAPs, right? So I think that is another advantage that a walking stick has, that you can, like, especially something like this, right?
It gives you a lot more use of force options.
It does. And, you can, depending on the situation, right? Like if I'm dealing with someone I don't want to do serious harm to, I can hit the arms. I can at least try to minimize, and it's a lot easier to minimize, right? I would rather, if I could effectively drive someone off without doing serious damage to them, that would be my goal. If I was forced to defend myself, of course, I hate to have to say this, but we have to say it every time because people will jump on this. I never want to be in a self-defense situation. I always want flight and escape and getting to safety to be my first self-defense option. Avoidance as my first self-defense option, and then escape, right? My last option is going hands-on. And I really don't believe that I want to go hands-on from a position where I'm less well-armed than my assailant.
Yeah.
I don't want them to have the power position. And that's another thing that something like this gives you.
Yes. Well, and range is a big deciding factor.
It is. It is.
Would you rather go knife on knife, or would you rather go walking stick on knife? That's
Definitely
a pretty easy decision.
Would rather have something like this against a knife, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially these knob top canes, because that is like a hammer, right? That has a really good chance of stopping somebody if I hit them in the head, or even like I think breaking the collarbone might be a good way to take out a limb.
Yeah. Fingers,
get rid of the grip. Wrist, yeah. Right? I mean, a hard shot to the wrist is gonna do some damage. Yeah, I really think they are a very viable self-defense option. I think if you approach it with dynamic striking ability and footwork and angling like a Filipino martial artist would approach it, or a silat fighter, I think you have a very, very good chance of using something like this successfully against the average would-be assailant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So, walking sticks. An excellent, and these two old geezers agree, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
That these walking sticks are a very viable self-defense tool. If you want to learn more about them, check out my Patreon. I do have some videos on here on YouTube that will show you some uses of them. I also have more lessons on Patreon, and check out Master Ziggy of Cane Fighters International. He has some great material. He has a lot to offer as well. All right. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Keith. Let's go hit some stuff.